Number one, your movies warn of the possibility of a one-world government. However, some degree of global unity is necessary for the Venus Project to succeed. How will we distinguish between steps by a corrupt few who want power and others who are genuinely striving for global unification? Well, that's an interesting question. I think you just have to examine what the end goal might be and the means to that end, so to speak. What separates our ideas of global unification from, say, global governance is that word governance. Government is as it exists, is an institution that deals with people making virtually solely economic decisions about the welfare of society. In the new society, it's not a matter of budgets and money. It's a matter of understanding the sources, and this is entirely transparent. So when it comes to global unification from a knowledge standpoint and a systems approach to society, government isn't even, it's an abstraction, because we want cybernetic systems to replace people's trains of thought when it comes to decision-making processes for the whole of society, in the sense of how things are distributed, in the sense of how we utilize certain resources, in the sense of the technicals of society. All government ever should have been is a technical construct. But as evolution has moved forward, it's become a personal thing. It's a group of mafias. It's a perpetual state of war that exists. Economies are at battle. Economies abusing each other just as businesses abuse each other. So it's an entirely different manifestation. As far as the specifics of your question, what I just said is basically how we distinguish between the two. If you want to see what I would say just really hell on earth, just let the banks continue to expand. Let money be put all onto digital chips with no transparency, and watch the world get unified in a monopolistic sense by the corporations and the banks. And that's going to be as oppressive as can be, because all of the elements of oppression are already built into the mentality of those organizations and of themselves, in a word, fascism. So you have to recognize that. Now, people always say to me, I'm contradicting myself in these films, saying, well, they say, well, you're promoting one world government again. I thought we were against that. I'm like, no. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely when power is rewarded. What is power? We don't want anyone to have power. We want full transparency in a cybernetic system where everyone has access to it in one way or another. People can affect it. If you don't know what I'm describing, you could read the Activist Orientation Guide. It's a cybernetic complex with everyone having access, full transparency. Anyone on the planet can know what everyone else knows as far as resource management and what is happening. It could easily be done and tracked to satellites and different sensor systems that we can develop, and computers generate all of the parameters needed. And what you tend to find is that the efficiency will be utterly self-evident. No one has to decide to, say, take a resource from here and move it to here because of some scarcity. Everything is in place, so therefore the system reacts automatically based on the simple logic of sustainability and efficiency. And once those parameters are set up, and the program is actually quite simple, monitoring is certainly simple, and allocation could certainly be simple. There's tons of machines in existence today that do just that. If a machine starts to run out of oil, it can have an adapter that's connected to it. It goes to another machine, and the oil deposit will be filled up in that machine. That's a random example, but that is the basic train of thought. So we would definitely want to ward against world monopoly. You see this perpetual expansion of, it's the same cycle over and over again, generation after generation, different countries. The difference now is that it's a digital world, and the empire can expand in ways that are much more insidious and much more under the surface than what it used to be in the past with just global physical warfare. Now we have economic warfare. There's all sorts of things that can be done by the powers that have the most monetary resources. They can do speculative raids against third world countries without the countries even knowing what just happened. In other words, hedge funds can take loans from their commercial bank friends. They can margin it to the hilt at 20 to 1. They can have hundreds of billions of dollars go and short the currency of a small third world country, shove it down, destroy their economy, destroy their jobs, and boom, that country has to now take loans from the same basic corrupt cartel through, say, the World Bank or the IMF. There's a whole new world out there, so we have to ward against this economic imperialism, which is coming to fruition. As far as the fantasy notions of world government, I apologize for my tangent on this subject, but the fantasy notions that have been put forward by the religious community, where they say that you're going to have a one world government and a one world religion, and they make this fantasy out of it that, you know, it unfortunately has a superstitious basis. I totally see totalitarianism coming into fruition, as it has repeatedly, but it could come to fruition on a massive scale, especially with money is continued to be money is the controlling mechanism of society. It's a pretty easy thing. You can see it happening very easily, and it already is happening, unfortunately, in different areas. So that is definitely to be feared, and other things I could say on that, but I think I've stated enough, and I want to try and get to these questions before Jacques and Roxanne come on.